Well, we're out here at Luscombe Acres visiting with Harry Phillips. We're just about to go into his hangar and take a look at his flybaby project. He's been working on this airplane for how long?
Oh, I've done this thing for probably 5 years.
5 years. So we're kind of anxious to go in and take a look and see.
Yes, we are, because it's very cold, Mark.
Been
Yes, it
working
is.
on it for about a year.
Okay, let's go take a look.
Let's go take a look. Yeah. That's polytone silver, isn't it?
No, that's just that's poly spray is what that is.
Oh, poly
Yeah,
spray. Okay,
yeah.
I forgot. They use all those names.
Yeah, poly spray, and when I talk to the people at there's a number you can call for the poly products, and I told them I was going to leave the airplane silver, and would I need to give it a protective coat. And first thing he said, well, if you leave it just with the poly spray alone won't stand up too well without protecting it.
Mm-hmm.
He said, so I would advise you to put a finished coat of silver on there.
Yeah, that's a good idea, and I really would highly recommend that latex paint.
Yeah. Did
People-
they make it in a silver?
You know, I don't know, but I bet they could mix it up for you.
They might be able to, yeah.
Okay, this airplane didn't have wings when you got it, did it, Harry?
No, it didn't have. The wings had been sold off to somebody that was building one of these. I think the wings were damaged badly, but they got the wings for the fittings. And they had sold off the wings, sold off the motor mount, and sold off the engine. Although I'm not, well, the engine probably didn't get hurt because I think it went wing over wing in the windstorm.
Yeah, now that it had a Lycoming engine in it,
Yeah, it had
didn't
a
it?
Lycoming.
Well, I could tell you an interesting story about this airplane. The day I flew it, and I thought it was the one and only time that I was convinced that I was going to crash in an airplane.
That's not good to hear.
No. I know. What was it you were saying, Harry?
The only thing I didn't like about it was the fact that the original builder apparently didn't like working with curves, and he had made square wing tips and put square tips on the horizontal and on the rudder.
Yeah,
See the
that kind of
horizontal over there.
takes away from the aesthetic,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
And I
Yeah.
may in the future, if after I get it flying, I may go ahead and build a new set of tail feathers for it to put it, because out of the wing I'm going to definitely go with the curved wing.
Oh yeah,
Better.
yeah. I think it does too.
I may not go with the elaborate wingtip bow that Bowers had on it. The way Bowers did the wingtip, it's a heck of a deal. You have to build the bow up in layers and clamp it
Oh yeah.
and all that. And I could take probably a sheet of maybe 3/4 inch plywood and cut one.
Just like a Gwillows model or
There you
a
go.
Comet model. Yeah.
So I may not do it the way he's got it. It takes several hours to build it his way, and it may be, if you ever had to repair the tips or something, he may be building them a little too stout.
Hmm.
You might wind up, instead of just wingtip damage, having major wing damage because
Oh yeah. Well,
He said he designed it that way so in case you hit the hangar door, it'd tear up the hangar instead
Yeah.
of the wingtip.
well, it had a laminated bow,
yeah,
didn't it?
laminated
Yeah.
bow. And he had a few things on the plans that leave a lot to be desired. For one thing, he doesn't show on the wing walk back there. He doesn't show whether these things will be stout enough with the plywood covering them to step on them, whether the wing walk should be just in the center or this a no step area. Do you remember if that was a no step area?
I don't think you're supposed to step on the back.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
kind of looking at it, it looks real flimsy to put weight, because it'd just be two of these ribs about that far apart.
Oh yeah.
I don't think that the one that Mark and I owned had the step up between the spars.
And of course, with it on the ground, you can step up and probably your foot will reach that point real easy.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So I may make sure I put a no step deal on that and make sure that somebody doesn't make a mistake of stepping in the wrong place.
Yeah, that could ruin your whole day stepping
that
through the
lever
wing.
over there on the left, that's my trim lever, but I think I'm going to change it to a wheel,
Yeah.
so there won't be any confusion.
You're coming right along with this.
Yeah, I still got to build the turtle deck, because the turtle deck is just strictly an open space right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Now, what was on it when you got the fuselage? Was
it was just
all this back here on it?
no. The fabric, all the fabric work has been done since I got it.
No, I mean the upper structure.
Oh yeah, the wood. All the
wood.
wood was there. Yeah.
Okay, was this up on it too?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The fuselage, I did not have to do any woodwork on the fuselage except on the bottom down at the tail end. I had to splice in those two. What do you call them? What do you call these things?
Stringers.
Stringers. There's two belly stringers
Mm-hmm.
that he had cut on the last part of the bay that was supposed to tie into this little thing. I
Mm-hmm.
had to splice those two pieces in, but that was the only woodwork I had to do on the thing.
Yeah.
And the only other change I made, you can see the little holes here. I did go ahead and put some sheet metal
Mm-hmm.
fasteners in there, so that when I make this metal cover, there is a cover for it, but I don't like, it's kind of crummy looking, so that I've got something to attach it to, and I added these right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how they kept the original on there unless they just screwed it into the wood, and I can't really tell because Brick rebuilt this tail,
Yeah.
so it wasn't the original tail. And I think this part down here was all new. Well, the whole tail assembly I think he built new.
Yeah, Rick did a real nice job on that vertical
Rick does
stabilizer.
beautiful work. In fact, I haven't had him come over here and take a look at this yet because he probably won't say anything. But I don't think he'll think too much of my woodwork.
Oh, don't sell yourself short, Harry. You're doing good. You're doing good.
Yeah, I'm not the greatest woodworker, but all I'm worried about is just getting it to where the finished product will work.
Now these are new Sitka spruce spars, aren't they?
That's the ones for the other winger in the box down there, and that's the Sitka spruce spars. I had to pay with delivery about $750 to get.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
How that has gone up.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I remember the first airplane I built. Well, the Yellowbird. I think the spars with shipping was only like $200
Well,
back then.
if I'd have bought the spars a year earlier, they went up over $100 just 1 year. From 2012 to 2013, they went up $100.
Yeah.
And I'm sure if you go back to the catalog when I first bought the airplane, I probably could have got it probably for about half the price I paid for it. And I wasn't thinking. At that time, I wasn't thinking about rebuilding it either.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
thinking about selling it to somebody else to finish somewhere down the line. And then I got to looking at trying to find a way to quit taking medical and still fly, and I thought, well, it'd be a good idea to have this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you'll love it too.
Yeah.
They're great airplanes.
Well, when I get through with it, I'll probably sell the 150, even though I like the 150, because I don't really need an airplane that's two-place. I can probably find one to borrow or rent if I need to go somewhere. Yeah, what happened to you on the flight that you did with this thing?
Well, it was I don't know, along about 1984. And I had the shop over at Spinks. You know, when we moved from Luck Field, we moved everything over to Spinks.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I was, you know, welding fuselages and doing A&P work and the whole 9 yards. And the guy that owned it came to the hangar one day and he said, look, I've got this fly baby. He said, I'm going to bring it over. He said, it needs some work. I want you to do like a 100-hour inspection. Of course, it's experimental, so,
Yeah.
you know, so you don't actually do a 100-hour. But anyway, he said, just go through it and see what you find. So he brought it over, and it was in pretty poor shape. It had a Lycoming engine on it, a 65 Lycoming, and a propeller that was way over pitched for the airplane. Compressions were low. You couldn't get full aileron throw with the stick. There was something in the linkages that just wasn't right. Several other odds and ends that were iffy, but you know, I told him, you know, with a little bit of work, you could probably make it into a decent beater type airplane. So he said, well, will you go fly it for me and tell me what you think? Big mistake. So I said, sure, you know. Back then I was young, you know, kind of like Jim.
Yeah.
Jim will fly anything, and that's the way I was back then. So I jumped in, fired it up, started taxiing out, and I knew I should have stopped when the right brake cable broke. It had mechanical brakes on it. The cable broke, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and fly it anyway.
You were younger than I've ever been then. I would have stopped.
So I went out to the sod runway and firewalled it, and the acceleration was slow. I mean, it just kind of crept along. It took forever to get the tail up, and it was a hot day. Hot, middle of the day, thermals everywhere, gusty. I finally got it up in ground effect, and it was just wallowing around, you know, and of course I was bending that throttle trying to get more power out of it, and of course I wasn't getting anything.
Yeah.
So I eased the nose up just a little bit and started a very gradual climb out. And the thermal activity was such that it would bang a wing up. And I didn't have enough aileron throw to bring that back down. Ooh. And it would come up and I'd have full aileron, what I had of aileron throw. And the only way to get it out of it was full rudder to skid it back out of that bank. I finally got it up to about 400 feet, way south of the runway. And I was pretty much afraid to even make a turn to try to bring it back around. So underpowered. But I finally got it around, and I was fighting that, you know, that overbanking tendency and then having to skid it, you know, back around. Finally got it around and landed it, but believe me, I was doing some talking to the good Lord. I thought that there were several times when I thought that I was going to go in with it.
Yeah.
You know, I finally got it back and I taxied it back, and I was, you know, shaking like this. I didn't let on to the owner that it had scared the crud out of me. But I got back and I said, man, you need to overhaul that engine, and you need a lower pitch prop on it. So, and that was the last time I ever flew it. And I don't know, I don't guess he ever did anything with it.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure whether Harvey was flying this thing at the time that it was torn up by the windstorm or not.
Well, it looks like you're doing some really nice work on those spars.
I don't know if Rick did it, but all of the set of ribs was all made in a stack. So the only part of the ribs that I had to make was the back end of the ribs here, and I had to make some additional leading edge portions for it, and of course I put the caps on. But he had made all of the ribs. Only thing that were lacking, he didn't have any holes cut for where the drag and anti-drag wires go, and I hopefully have got them all in the right place, because I sat and figured it out one day where to put the holes. As you see, there's a hole in the middle on this one, and 2 points on that, and 2 outside points on that. So this is where the wires cross going to these 2 points.
Well, now, did it use standard drag, anti-drag wires, or did it use cable?
Cable.
1/8 inch?
But if I can, I've got a set of drag anti-drag wires that will go in this first section. They fit perfectly. And that just leaves me 2 more out there, and I've got a whole box full of drag anti-drag wires over there.
Oh, yeah.
And I may, if I can find enough of them to do it, I may go ahead and not go with the cable. I may go with the drag anti-drag wires. Even if I have to buy some, the few that I have to buy probably might not be that expensive. I think I just have to buy, let's see, 2, 4. I have to buy 8.
Well, you know, you could buy 4130 rod and tap it one end left-hand thread and one end right-hand thread.
And in fact, I have got some 1/4 inch rod in 12-foot lengths right in that room there, hanging on the nails.
Now, did you do those mock-up spars?
Yeah, that was my mock-up spars, and the reason I did that, I figured that I didn't want to go ahead and work on these and then find out I'd screwed up. So what I did, I took those 2 pieces of scrap wood there and figured out a way to cut this chamfer on here, and that worked out. I found out I could do that with a little old jigsaw, and went ahead and did it. And then I've located all the holes that were needed, especially down in the butt part of it, before I drilled any of these right here.
You should have called me, Harry. I've got a real nice planer at home. Could have cut those bevels just as easy as you please.
I thought about buying a planer, because that's what he recommended, was using a plane to take the bevels down, or a draw knife. He said a draw knife worked well. But I don't know, I've never used a draw knife.
Well, my planer, it's a mechanical planer. It's a big, and you can set the fence up to whatever angle you want.
Yeah.
And just
that's what you really need. I may borrow it when I get to that next set of spars. Also, these short pieces over here are my first spar mock-ups that I made. This was because I've cut it up, but this was the real spar that I made right here, and this was the rear spar. That was the front. And what I did, I put the holes in it and put the plates on, and made sure that would go in, and the bolts would go into the deal right there. Also, that gave me an idea where the holes had to be before I got started on it. And it's a good thing I did, because on the front spar I found out that if I went ahead and made it just exactly like Bowers had it and left the butt where it was, I couldn't get in far enough to put the bolt in. So I had to, on the actual spar, I had to shave off about a 1/16 of an inch to make it to where it would go.
Boy, this thing uses a ton of turnbuckles, and those things are getting expensive.
Well, I've got, when Rick sold this to me, in fact, when you go in the shop here, you'll see a whole bunch of these cables.
Yeah.
But a lot of them will have turnbuckles on them.
Oh, well, you've got it made then.
So, because
Yeah.
he had a complete set of the wires that go ahead and take and go
Mm.
with the wings, and he even had the cables for the landing gear with the turnbuckles on them.
Now, you've got a J3 fuel tank with this thing,
J3
don't
fuel
you?
tank. I haven't checked it to see if I need to do something about making sure it don't leak. And
Well, if you find any leaks, I think that was made out of turn plate.
yeah,
It's what they used to use. We can, weld patches on it.
okay. It has been fiberglass in one place, so I assume it had a leak in it at one time and somebody fiberglassed it,
Mm-hmm.
which is good, I guess, and then again, sometimes it isn't, because getting fiberglass off the fixture
Yeah.
is a pain.
Is this the original landing gear?
That was the landing gear that was with it when I bought it from Rick, so I don't know whether Rick built that or not.
Now, didn't it have 800 by 4 tires and wheels?
Yeah, in fact, if you look over on the other side of the airplane, there's some 800 Fords over there.
Okay.
Those are not the ones that came with me necessarily. There's some that I managed to scrounge, and that's another change that I made on the airplane.
Oh, yeah. All smooth, too. Look at this, Jim.
Went ahead and converted it to disc.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
Oh, man, wouldn't that look cool on there?
these are the two wheels that I plan to use on the thing. Those are just training wheels, basically,
Yeah.
move it around.
Oh, that's going to look cool. Smooth,
So that's
smooth tires.
another change I made. I went to hydraulic, and I'm probably going to put a little warning sign on the deal that do not use brakes except for run up.
Oh, yeah. Good idea.
Because somebody gets on those hydraulic brakes on landing, they'll allow the wind up upside down. Real quick.
Well, that's true.
In fact, like you're saying, since we know we've got the Daredevil aviator in our midst, I may go ahead and give him the privilege, insure it, and then give him the privilege of doing the first flight after I get through with it.
Oh, yeah.
And let him
Well, you
come-
know what? You can do listen, these things, they are such a joy to fly.
I know.
You're gonna be surprised. I mean, one that's properly engined and
Oh yeah, and of course I plan to go with a Continental engine and make sure I've got the right prop.
Well,
I've got a propeller right to here, but this propeller right here doesn't have the right pitch.
well,
It actually was designed for an 0235, an 0290, or an 0290 D2 according to the
yeah.
Sensenich people, so it might not actually work on a Continental. It
Well-
may not work fit. I'm not really sure whether there's a difference on the hub.
Well, I have a perfect engine for you, and I have a Ray Heggie propeller. Needs a little work on it, but it's a 7242.
Which is one I think he recommended for these.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I may have to get some of my junk sold so I can haggle with you on the deal.
Well, we can do some haggling and talking. There's some stuff I want to talk to you about anyway.
Yeah, you don't want an 0360 engine in trade, do you?
No, I don't need one of them. I've got an 0290 in parts.
Yeah, I got an 0360 that I figured I'd go ahead and advertise in for trade when I got ready to get the engine to see if I could find an engine or a prop for it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did you get the compression struts with it, or did you build those?
I built them. In fact, here's some of the tubing that I built them out of. This old rusty looking stuff right here. And I don't know whether you remember a guy named J.D. Williams.
Yep, I do.
He does. J.D. Williams bought 3 pieces of this stuff when he was moving out of his trailer home to somewhere else just before he died. And he bought these 3 lengths of
5/8.
5/8 over to my hangar, and he said, "You need these?" I said, "Nope, don't need them." He said, "Well, you might need them someday. They're yours."
Yeah, JD was a heck of a guy.
And I hadn't needed them until this project came up. But unfortunately, he didn't have anything but the 5/8 and the rods for the ailerons are recommended to be 1/2 inch. And that may have been the problem because I won't know since I don't have the original deal, because this stick, I think probably is just exactly like the plans built.
Mm-hmm.
Has full throw. So there must have been something in the wings on that one.
Yeah.
There is an AD on the aileron.
Is there?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's also an AD on the cross member where you bolt the strut.
Yeah.
A metal strap across that bulkhead.
Yeah, I saw that. Actually, he mentions that in his plans. In fact, he recommends you put that on there if you're going to build a biplane.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, back when he did the plans, he didn't recommend it for the monoplane.
Yeah, it's a mandatory thing nowadays.
And it wouldn't be hard to do. I've got some 1/8 inch aluminum plate. I just have to cut it. And I'm sure that'd be stout enough to go across.
Mm-hmm.
The Flybaby we had the strap across it.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, even if it hadn't been in his plans on the biplane part of it, I was looking at that and I thought, well, I don't like the idea of just relying for the life of the airplane on wood between the wings there, and I thought, well, I'll go ahead and at least on the rear spar I was going to make sure I had it anyway, and I got to looking and I can do it on the front spar too. There's no reason why I shouldn't do it on both of them.
Good idea.
I think on the front rear spar I can put it on the forward side, and on the front spar it has to go on the forward side because of the control stick being in the assembly being in the way.
Well, it looks like you're making good progress, Harry.
Yeah, considering I didn't start it until, I like to say, about probably a little less than a year ago that I actually started working on it. When I first moved down here, there was a whole bunch of other things. All this insulation wasn't in here.
Mm-hmm.
Walls weren't insulated. This room wasn't closed off. And I went ahead and the first year I was down here, I spent almost the first year just going ahead and modifying this hangar. Figured it was, if I was going to work in it, I needed a good place to work.
Mm-hmm.
And a tin building is not a good place to work.
No.
Not unless it's insulated. Plus, tin buildings drip on airplanes and leave nasty, rusty stains on them.
Mm-hmm. Well, Harry, thanks for sharing your project with us and sharing your time.
You're welcome.
We really had a good time coming out and looking. We're anxious to see you get it flying.
Well, I keep telling everybody it'll probably be late spring or early summer, but now that we're into this month, it's probably early spring. Late spring is probably a little wishful thinking.
Mm-hmm.
But you have not specified which year.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't specify the year, but I am gonna I try to work on it every day, except when we've got stuff like this.
You need a propane heater out here, Harry.
I've got a propane tank that the guy left behind. It stands about this tall. It's about half full of propane, and got one of those little Dearborn heaters that you can hang on the wall, but it's not big enough to heat this area.
Yeah.
But I could get a different type heater and hook it up to that tank and use up that half tank of propane.
Oh, yeah.
Because if I'm patient, it don't stay cold too long.
No.